District of Columbia.
Sue Counts from Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Myra Teddy from Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Diane Levitas, District of Columbia.
Miss District of Columbia.
Shelley Gosman, Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Nikki Phillips, Metro, Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Suzanne Fuskowski, Washington.
Miss District of Columbia.
Hello, I'm Janet Greenawalt from Metropolitan Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Good evening, I'm Nancy Plachta of Adelphi from our nation's capital.
Miss District of Columbia.
Hi, everybody. Robin Utterback, District of Columbia.
Miss District of Columbia.
Mary Lamont representing the nation's capital.
Miss District of Columbia.
Hello, I'm Nancy Sin. I'm from our nation's capital.
Miss District of Columbia.
Hi, I'm Sharon Sutherland from Metropolitan Washington.
Miss District of Columbia.
Hello, my name is Wanda Kleiman from Washington, D.C.
Miss District of Columbia.
Cynthia Ramsey, Washington, D.C.
Marion Ritter, District of Columbia.
Miss District of Columbia.
Belinda Johnson, District of Columbia.
Miss
Lori Easton from the District of Columbia. Julie Warner, District of Columbia. Stephanie Leeming from the District of Columbia. Krista Chacon, Washington, D.C. Desiree Keating, Washington, D.C.
Edwina Richard, Washington, D.C.
Alpha Anderson, District of Columbia.
Emily Singh, Preload Major from Washington, D.C.
Within 10 years, I've hoped to win an Oscar and become the CEO of a major movie studio. I'm Catherine Staples.
District of Columbia.
I'm aiming for a career after college as a professional model, actress, or anchorwoman. I'm Lakeisha Smith.
Miss District of Columbia.
I'm an insurance agent with a career looking forward to marketing. Home of the Super Bowl champion Redskins, I'm Wanda Jones.
Miss District of Columbia.
I'm a graduate of Howard University and now work as a television field producer and reporter. I'm Alina Neves.
District of Columbia.
Soon I begin master's work at George Washington University. My goal of career politics, I'm Angela McGlowan.
The District of Columbia.
A graduate of Stanford University and current master's candidate at the University of Pennsylvania from the District of Columbia, I am Marcy Andrews.
District of Columbia.
I attended the Million Man March, and I apologize to all who didn't want women there. But I was there, and it was the most amazing sight I've ever seen in my life.
And
D.C. Napier Rose.
Washington, D.C.'s Denise Lyles is an Art Institute graduate and professional runway model.
District of Columbia. Amy Alderson. District of Columbia. Jewel April Casamayor.
Shantae Hinton, District of Columbia.
Michelle Dolly Wright, 26, Miss District of Columbia, USA.
Tiara Kristen Dews, 21, Miss District of Columbia, USA.
Sarah Elizabeth Langford, 26, Miss District of Columbia, USA.
Candace Allen, 22, Miss District of Columbia, USA.
Mercedes Lindsay, 26, Washington, District of Columbia.
Chelsea Sophia Rogers, 24, the District of Columbia.
Nicole White, 20, District of Columbia.
Mackenzie Green, 21, District of Columbia.
Heather Swan, 23, Washington, District of Columbia.
Monique Tompkins, District of Columbia.
Jessica Lane Frick, District of Columbia. Sierra Nicole Buck, 23, Northeast, District of Columbia. Lindsay Olsen, 26, Washington, District of Columbia. Deshauna Barber, District of Columbia.
Deshauna is a U.S. Army Reserve commander whose mom, dad, brother, and sister all serve. District of Columbia.
Bryce Armstrong, District of Columbia. Cordelia Cranshaw, District of Columbia.
Sierra Jackson, District of Columbia.
District of Columbia, Sasha Perea.
District of Columbia, Faith Porter.